Welcome to Transport Vlog. My name is Paul and I'm standing right in the middle of the brand new North-South Concourse that recently opened at Sydney's Central Station, and that is what this video is all about. So the North-South Concourse, or Metro Concourse as I've called it in previous videos, opened on Monday the 29th of May 2023, and as you can see it's very spacious. It's 140 metres long and 27 metres wide. And by way of comparison, Central Walk is 80 metres long and 90 metres wide, so the North-South Concourse is significantly larger. Being opening day, some of the senior Sydney Metro and Sydney Trains managers had come along, and it looked like a TV interview was about to start. And maybe one day I'll have a camera like his, but then bigger isn't always better, as my iPhone can easily peek through these gates to reveal a set of escalators to the Sydney Metro platforms below. So that was this new concourse as it looked on opening day. Now I was wondering if this new concourse could handle 10,000 people at once, and that's because Transport Vlog has recently reached 10,000 subscribers. So this video is my 10,000 subscriber special, and if you, and I mean you, haven't subscribed, then click or tap that subscribe button that is right below me. So let's quickly jump back to the 13th of November 2022 when a small part of the North-South Concourse opened to provide a connection between the Northern Concourse and the first part of the newly opened Central Walk. However, with high walls and a temporary ceiling, its true glory was hidden from view, although you could get glimpses of the real deal if you knew where to look. Then on the 3rd of April 2023, the rest of Central Walk opened and the North-South Concourse temporary passageway swapped sides. And one of the concourse walls and a good part of the ceiling became visible, and this gave us more of a taste of what was to come. And the temporary passageways had this blue carpet that served an important purpose, which I'll reveal a little later in this video. So the North-South Concourse has three entrances or connections to other parts of the station, and I'll start with the entrance from the Northern Concourse. When coming in from the Eddy Avenue entrance, you'll see the new North-South Concourse straight ahead. And if you're coming down the escalators from platforms 1 to 12 above, you'll see it on the right. There are wide sets of stairs on either side and two lifts in the middle for step-free access. And this is how it looks from within the North-South Concourse. The two North-South Concourse lifts also serve the platform level above, so have 3 stopping points, so let's check this out. So now approaching this lift from the platform level. Like all the new Central Station lifts, this one is within a glass lift shaft, which makes it much more inviting. So the UC button is for the Northern Concourse, with the LC button being for the new North-South Concourse below it. And from these lifts you get a good view of the future trackbed for platforms 13 and 14. More on this later. So now at the Northern Concourse level, and in the distance you can see part of the original Central Electric building and the Eddy Avenue ticket gates below it. From here, these lifts provide an alternative to using the stairs on either side. And the lift doors for the North-South Concourse are on the opposite side. And you are greeted with some thought-provoking words on the floor, and I'll talk more about these towards the end of this video. Now if you're using the stairs on the west side, take a moment to look at the artwork on the wall. I believe this represents the Sydney Metro station box that includes the North-South Concourse and Metro platforms, and this represents the Central Station clock tower. And the words are "on railway time by the workers' watch, in rapid succession without a schedule, journeys and gatherings as time progresses, over and under technologies change, a symbol of progress both moving and still, a standard time measure, travel assured." And I think this might represent the inside of a clock. And further up the wall is this clock that appears to be related to its big brother. Also on this wall are circles and lines that might have something to do with clocks and time as well. The second way into this concourse is from Central Walk, and although the construction methods were very different, the end result is a relatively seamless transition between the two. So this is the western end of Central Walk that leads directly to the North-South Concourse. And now looking towards this Central Walk entrance. At the moment there is a hoarding around the platform 14 lift, so it will look more open once this is removed. Here is a closer look into Central Walk from the north side. And now from the south side, with the escalators to the Chalmers Street entrance in the distance. This glass reinforced concrete beam marks the end of Central Walk, and it's one of several beams that support the suburban platforms and tracks above. And everything beyond this beam is part of the North South Concourse, and this includes the Platform 14 lift and these skylights, which I'll come back to shortly. So the third way into this new concourse is from the old southern tunnel, which is right behind me. This entrance is just beyond the Platform 12 and 13 South escalators, so is around here on the map. A short set of stairs lead to the southern tunnel, which provides access via further stairs to platforms 4 to 11. With step-free access to these platforms being available via the Northern Concourse lifts that I used earlier. And it looks like the southern tunnel might be getting a bit of a refresh, especially on the ceiling. Now looking back into the North-South Concourse, and you can see where the old meets the new. So now you know how to get into and out of the North-South Concourse, let's take a look at the design features. Very prominent are these canopy-like structures. There are two of these, one on either side of the central ceiling. The canopies and the central ceiling have the now familiar white tiles with black strips for lighting and CCTV. These were also used within Central Walk and for the new Chalmers Street entrance and concourse ceiling. The strip lighting along the sides of the canopies helped them stand out even more. Each canopy is supported by 10 concrete columns, and the canopy on the eastern side is completely straight. However, the western one bends very slightly to the right at the southern end. The curve is a little easier to view at this end, and you can also see how the western edge of the central ceiling bends slightly to stay in line with this canopy. The curve is even more apparent when looking in the other direction, and the reason it's not straight will be revealed later in this video. At the Northern Concourse entrance, the canopies blend seamlessly into the concrete structure that supports the platform level above. Between the two canopies is the central ceiling structure that is over the Sydney Metro escalators and lifts. And this ceiling lines up with the track bed for the new lines into platforms 13 and 14 that are immediately above, which means that the North-South Concourse canopies line up nicely with their platform counterparts above. And as you can see, the design is very similar too. The sandstone coloured walls on either side are made of glass reinforced concrete and are designed to blend in with the colours of the Heritage Station buildings within the Northern Concourse. Towards the northern and southern ends, parts of the wall have this uneven surface, and I think this might resemble sandstone or the rock surface that was here before the station box was excavated. In the middle area, where the escalators and lifts are, the surface is smoother and is similar to the escalator walls on Central Walk. And on some parts of the wall are these holes and slats that may be purely architectural or might be there to assist with ventilation. Also between the escalators and lifts on both sides are frosted glass panels that allow natural light to filter down from the new platforms above. And on a sunny day, you might notice some sunlight on parts of the floor. The lift shafts and escalators bring in natural light as well. So overall, the combination of light colours, natural light and lots of space makes this a very inviting area to move through or even hang around in for a little while. Although both Central Walk and the North-South Concourse look similar in terms of colours and finishes, they were built very differently. Central Walk involved excavating this large area under the very busy suburban lines. And with the exception of a few track work weekends, the trains had to keep running, so tunnelling under them was the only option. However, for the North-South Concourse and Sydney Metro platforms, it was possible to use the cut and cover method that involved demolishing everything above it, in this case the old terminating tracks and platforms, and excavating a station box which is then covered over when completed. This is an easier and cheaper construction method and allows for large spacious station concourses and platforms, and this was how all the underground stations on the North West Metro were built, and Crow's Nest, Barangaroo and Waterloo stations are also being built this way. However, the cut and cover method is not an option when important buildings or busy railway lines need to be retained. And that's why the size and shape of the North-South Concourse is quite different to Central Walk. The opening of the North-South Concourse also included 4 new escalators and 1 lift. These served Platform 12 and in the future Platform 13 as well. I'll start with the north set of escalators. So we have a nice clear sign for Platform 12. Now what is really cool is you can see both the concourse and platform canopies at the same time. And notice how similar they are with the same white tiles and black strips. However, this one on the platform has canopies on both sides, with the Platform 12 canopy straight ahead and the one for the new Platform 13 now coming into view on the right. And I reckon this one is directly above its neighbour down below. At the moment, Platform 12 is only used by a few morning and evening peak trains, but I'm sure this will change in the future. Although signposted to platform 12 only, these escalators offer a sneaky way to get to platforms 1 to 11 as well. Let me show you how. So you would continue to the end of platform 12 and then go around to the left. You'll see platform 8 straight ahead and platforms 9 to 11 on your left. When it goes around to the right, you'll see the top of the 4 escalators that come from the Northern Concourse, and this is where you would come out if you followed the signs. Besides being slightly quicker, going this alternative way bypasses these stairs at the Northern Concourse end. And here is one of the signs that direct you through the North-South Concourse rather than via the Platform 12 North escalators, so this is definitely one for those in the know, which now includes you. Anyway, let's hope this video doesn't go viral, otherwise I might get into trouble with Sydney trains when thousands of people decide to go my way. So now back on Platform 12 and checking out the Down North escalator. You can see the top of the frosted glass panels, which as I mentioned earlier allow natural light to enter the North-South Concourse below. These silver panels mark the transition between the platform and the concourse. And whilst descending, you are reminded that you can always learn something about yourself. These escalators also give you some lovely elevated views of the concourse and especially this canopy. And if you look closely, you can see some of the escalators that go down to the Sydney Metro platforms. I'll cover these a little later. Now for a ride in the Platform 12 lift that will also serve Platform 13 in the future. It's exactly the same design and size as the lifts within Central Walk. And just like in Central Walk, the lift doors are on the north side. This lift gives you some closer views of the frosted glass panels and the natural light coming through them. And at platform level, the doors are on the north side as well and take you directly onto those frosted glass panels. Interestingly, on opening day, this lift had signage to the metro platforms, and as you can see, these will be numbered as platforms 26 and 27. And there were also new station exit numbers, including one for the future Trama Street entrance. Someone quickly picked up on these, and a few days later they were covered over. So now for the south escalators, and these were on energy saving mode, so notice how the up escalator speeds up as I approach. And once again, we have both the concourse and platform canopies in view at the same time. This is one of 42 new escalators that were installed as part of the Sydney Metro Central Station upgrade. To find out where all the other new escalators are, watch this video appearing now in the top right. And while I was enjoying my escalator ride, this Oscar train left without me. Now although this platform is new, you still want to keep a lookout for any shady characters. You can see how the island platform tapers at this end, as the future platform 13 and platform 14 track bed bends to the right to connect with the existing lines. And as the central ceiling is below the track bed, this also curves slightly on the right side, which means that the western canopy does too. So that's the reason for the curvy canopy. So now checking out the down south escalator. All of the 42 new escalators are of the same design and have modern features such as illuminated strip lighting on either side of the steps and around the handrails. Prior to this upgrade, Central Station only had 12 escalators and 6 of those were outside the opal gates. It's nice to be greeted with the words "Be confident" as you descend. I'm sure we could all do with a little bit more of that in some areas of our lives. I'll talk a bit more about this floor artwork towards the end of this video. As I mentioned earlier, Platform 12 is currently only used at peak times, which is why there are very few passengers on these escalators at other times. So I came back in the morning peak. And it was fun to watch the patter of not so tiny feet going over the frosted glass panels. The platform 14 lifts and escalators will open later when the tracks are in place. These are the platform 14 north escalators. And now the platform 14 lift. And then on the other side, the south escalators. These are all finished and raring to go, and platform 14 has the same skylights between the escalators and lifts. And the natural light coming down is quite noticeable. And close to these escalators you could look up and watch the trains coming into platform 16, which is pretty cool. Here is a closer view of the platform 14 lift. See if you can spot the train doors behind it from that train in platform 16. Both platforms 13 and 14 are now complete, but as you know, one crucial thing is missing, and that's the tracks. The turnouts are already in place, but the entrance to the construction site offices are currently in the way of where the future tracks will go. So I reckon the laying of the new tracks will occur after all Central Station and Sydney Metro work is complete, and these construction site offices are no longer needed. So I'm now going to show you the new Sydney Metro lifts and escalators in detail. Now I'm really excited about this because in previous videos I've only been able to get tiny glimpses of these. So let's start with the lifts. So the two lifts to the Metro platforms are towards the northern end of the concourse. At the moment the lift entrances are hidden behind this hoarding. But all is not lost, as I have this clip from mid-May where you can see both lift entrances and this lift sign on the right, which is now covered over. When Sydney Metro opens, passengers exiting the Northern Concourse lifts will have a direct line of sight to the entrance doors for the Sydney Metro lifts, and as you can see, the distance between them is relatively short. The white hoarding is only around the lift entrance, so you can get some good views from the back and the sides. And these lifts are finished and are currently being used by construction workers to access the Sydney Metro platforms below. When looking from the sides, you can see how the lift shaft splits the central ceiling structure into two sections. And here is a nice close-up of this. The North South Concourse has 9 escalators that go to the Sydney Metro platforms below, and the first set of 3 escalators are just beyond the Metro lifts. And here is a view of these escalators. To help you get your bearings, the 2 lifts are just behind the escalator gate, and the platform 12 north escalators are on the left. And now with the platform 14 north escalators in the background. So with these Metro escalators being close to the platform 12 to 14 north escalators, interchanges between Sydney Metro from these platforms should be relatively quick and seamless. These Sydney Metro escalators are to the north of the entrance to Central Walk, so they are more likely to be used by passengers coming from the Northern Concourse and Eddy Avenue entrance, as well as from the platforms above. Unlike the lifts, there are no hoardings in the way, and it's easy to get glimpses of what is down below by peeking through the gate or through the protective glass panels that surround the escalators. And above the escalators is a covered up blue Sydney Metro M sign. There is one of these over each set of escalators and above the lift entrance too. And here is an uncovered one taken a few days before opening. Peering through the gate reveals the Sydney Metro Island platform, which is 27 metres below ground. It's the second deepest after Victoria Cross, which has platforms 31 metres below the surface. The Sydney Metro Island platform looks almost finished, with help points, seats and next train displays. And signage too, so platform 26 will be for northbound trains to Tallawong via the CBD and Chatswood, and platform 27 for trains to Sydenham and Bankstown. These Sydney Metro platform escalators are very, very long, being 45 metres in length, and that makes them the longest escalators in the southern hemisphere. And each escalator truss, that's the structure that contains the escalator, weighs 26 tonnes. The Sydney Metro platforms also have the same glass reinforced concrete walls. And below these are the platform screen doors, although you can't see them from here. This is from the other side, so with the escalators on the right, and from here you get a good view of the platform surface. Now looking the other way, and you can see one of the lift entrances and another Sydney Metro help point next to it. And here is the entrance to the other lift. These face south, so are on the opposite side to the North-South Concourse. And as I mentioned earlier, these lifts are already working and are being used by construction workers. The second set of escalators is slightly to the south of the Central Walk entrance, which you can see now. So it's a short walk from this entrance to these escalators. And they should be easy to spot when coming from Central Walk. They are also close to the platform 12 to 14 south escalators, as you can see here. So these will be the closest escalators for passengers coming to and from the suburban platforms and the new Chalmers Street entrance via Central Walk, and from platforms 12 to 14 above. Although these escalators are identical to the previous ones, some of the views down below are quite different. For instance, through this glass screen you can see the platform and the bottom of the first set of escalators, along with further signage too, including a sign for the lifts. And now the first set of escalators again, this time from the other side. And here is a close-up view of the platform wall. These might be platform screen doors here, but it's pretty hard to tell. See if you can spot the blue central sign above these seats. And here is another station sign with a help point next to it. And now a close-up of one of the next train displays. The escalator walls also have silver panels that mark the transition from the north-south concourse to the platform level below. And here is another view of the glass reinforced concrete walls on either side. And now for the final set of escalators, which are close to the southern end of this concourse. These will be nearest for passengers using the southern tunnel, where it's just a short walk to these escalators. And they also provide an alternative for passengers coming from Central Walk, the northern concourse and platforms above. And again, while the escalators look the same, the differences are down below. And this includes being able to see all three sets of escalators, which is really cool. And a good view of the bottom of the second set of escalators. So with all the escalators and lifts installed and ready for use, and with signage, next train displays and other amenities now in place, it looks like these Sydney Metro platforms are very close to completion. And I reckon it won't be long before we start hearing the sounds of Sydney Metro trains on test. Now let's look at the concourse facilities, starting with the toilets. There are 6 toilets, the first being an ambulant unisex one, then the southern tunnel entrance, then the fully accessible toilet, and then 2 female and 2 male toilets. Decisions, male or female toilet? Okay, I wasn't expecting that, so male it is. So all the usual things such as a sink, hand dryer, soap dispenser and mirror. And also a baby changing table. And although this is not the fully accessible toilet, it does have supporting rails to help less agile people. And that's why these are called ambulant toilets. Close to the first set of metro escalators is this large next train display, and this is also very visible when entering this concourse from Central Walk. And if you're hungry or thirsty, vending machines are towards the south of the concourse on the east side. And there are also a few seats dotted around, which is a nice touch, and some advertising panels. Right at the southern end of this concourse is a display of items that was salvaged during the excavation phase. Here is what was found. So if you wish to see these for yourself, head to the south end and peer through the holes. The writing is not on the wall, it's on the floor, and the words of wisdom come from Melbourne artist Rose Nolan. Let's take a look. The red floor with white lines represent the lanes of a typical athletics track, and it's designed to celebrate the daily passage of commuters and other travellers as they move through Central Station, and hopefully they'll be walking rather than sprinting to their next train. The use of red also gives a nod to the brickwork of Central Station's iconic heritage buildings. The phrases are calming, serene, timeless and thought-provoking, and bring a sense of curiosity, introspection, patience, persistence and compassion. And they also remind passengers of simple shared pleasures that we can enjoy as we go from A to B. At 113 by 19 metres, it covers a significant part of the concourse, and I believe it's the largest piece of artwork to be installed inside an Australian railway station. It uses a terrazzo material that is designed to last for many years, so this artwork is a permanent feature of this concourse. Rose Nolan gave this artwork the name all alongside of each other, and if you look up when coming through the Northern Concourse, you'll see this phrase in large red and polished stainless steel letters. This artwork was commissioned by Sydney Metro to mark this once-in-a-century upgrade to Central Station. So what are the phrases? Let's find out. In the circle between the Northern Concourse and Metro lifts, the words in the outer lane are "simply breathe naturally." And in the middle lane, the phrase is "be aware of each mental note as it arises." Then on the eastern side, between the stairs and the Central Walk entrance, the phrase is "see how thoughts and feelings move in particular ways." And this phrase is in the middle lane. And over on the western side, between the platform 12 lift and the stairs to the Northern Concourse, is the phrase "learn something about yourself that you may not have known before." And this is also in the middle lane, and both this and the phrase on the eastern side were under the temporary passageway prior to opening, and that was why blue carpet was used to protect them. In this circle adjacent to the Central Walk entrance, the phrase in the inner lane is "stay focused when everything moves around you." And the words in the outer lane are "expand the circle of compassion outwards." I like the use of the word circle along with the word outwards being in the outer lane. Now looking towards the south end, and the phrase in the inner lane is "be confident that after some time you will notice the benefits." And now in the outer lane, our last phrase is "with practice an inner balance develops to a greater or lesser degree." So I'm going to finish with a few clips that I took a few days before this opened. These clips were all on Friday the 26th of May, so they had about 60 hours remaining to complete all the work. This is from the Northern Concourse stairs, and you can see the Metro M sign above the lifts. And on the western wall with the Sydney Metro platform 26 and 27 signs, which are now covered over. And there was another Metro platform sign above the western stairs. Lots of signs were lying on the floor, waiting to be put into their correct place. I wonder if they had any left over. And whilst I was contemplating how to get a peek through this hoarding, the construction workers kindly took it down for me. So that's the new North-South Concourse at Central Station, and I hope I've been able to showcase this and do it justice in this video. If you're local, do come and check it out soon, and if you're not, then why not add it to your holiday bucket list? So thank you for watching this video, and if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below, and do like, subscribe and consider supporting me on Patreon, and I'll see you in the next video very soon. Bye for now.